Hi, and welcome to this installment of KOTS Tips and Tricks. I'm Fernando Kramer, forward deployed engineer at Replicated. And in this installment, I'd like to walk you through how to connect or how to link Replicated's vendor portal with Google's Container Registry. The use case here is, and if you have followed along with these videos before, you probably have created an application in Replicated. You might have created a release with the sample Nginx container and even gone as far as deployed it to a VM or an existing cluster. So the next natural step is that you may want to now test your application. So in order to do that, we need to be able to pull your images from your registry, wherever that may be. And if you're watching this video, there's a good chance they are in Google's Container Registry. So in this video, we're going to cover the following. We're going to push the Nginx container to a repository in Google Cloud. Then we're going to update our application definition YAMLs to ensure they will pull from the proper repository. And lastly, we'll update an existing installation so it pulls the images from the right repository. In order to do this, or if you want to follow along, make sure you have a release created in Replicated Vendor Web, and also you have deployed this to a working VM or an existing cluster. So now what we're going to do is head over to the Replicated Vendor portal, where right now I have Sequence 5 is my latest release. And in this guy in the deployment YAML, you can see I'm pulling from the Replicated registry. So I'm going to come to images here, and I'm going to click on Add External Registry to fill out the endpoint username and password. So in order to fill out those fields, first let's make sure we have our container in GCR. So I've pulled the latest Docker container of Nginx, and now I'm going to tag it with my GCR project tag here and repository. And once I have the tag in place, I can push it to GCR. Now, I logged in using the gcloud command line. I would recommend to refer to their documentation on how to do that. But to confirm that I have, in fact, uploaded the image, the image here, I can see that it's uploaded here. Perfect. Okay, so now I need credentials. So let's create a service account. So while I'm here in the Google Cloud Console, I'm going to create a service account. Just a quick description for some of my other teammates know what I'm doing here. I'll click on create. And the next step is important, is the permissions. Now, this is has to be a read-only account, right? We're only going to pull containers. So the storage object viewer is enough. I'll continue. I don't need to assign users. We'll click on done. The next thing we'll have to do is generate a set of keys, because this will be the password. The password in Replicated Web is going to be the contents of this JSON key. So create that file, download it, and really it's up to you how you want to handle. My recommendation is that you use this trick that I have here to help you reduce any white space, but also put it in your clipboard. So here I'm using cat to get the contents of the file. Then I'm using JQ along with some options to eliminate the white space. And then I'm piping that into PV copy, which puts it in my clipboard. So that's a really great way to capture the contents of that file without any white space, and it puts it in my clipboard. So I don't have to paste it into like an editor and then copy paste, right? So very handy command here. So we'll hit enter. Okay, so now it is in my clipboard. So I have all the details I need to come back here now and fill this out. The endpoint is simply grc.io. I'm sorry, gcr.io. I always get those confused. The username is just underscore JSON underscore key. And then in the password field, just paste what we have from a PV copy. Just click on link registry. And we'll just, now we don't need to save this. Perfect. So now let's switch over to my development environment and update my YAML files to now pull from GCR. So here, all I need to do is replace the image tag with the one pointing to GCR, the same one I used in the tag in my command line earlier. I'm going to save my changes, and this now will allow me to, the next release now will pull from GCR. So we're going to now switch over to my development environment where I have my CLI. So If you follow the previous videos, you probably already know how to use the replicated CLI, so I'm not going to go through all the steps to get it set up and running, but at a high level here, I have it set up where I can list my channel. So I have my environment variables set up, my API token in my application. So simply now I can just run replicated release create to create the next release. We have other videos that will walk you through how to get started with the CLI if you're not familiar with that. Once my release is created, all I need to do really is verify again that the sequence 6 is created, and I can switch over to the UI as well under version history. And now I can go, this is my deployed environment, and now on the end user side, we're going to now download the change. I can verify by looking at the differences here and see that the new update that I'm pulling from replicated is pointing now to registry. Instead of the registry in replicated, it's pointing to the GCR repository. But notice that we put the proxy in front of it, right? So that means that replicated acts as a proxy when you link it this way. So that means from a pull secret perspective, the end customer, the end user is using replicated secrets and not yours. It's not using my JSON key from Google Cloud, right? Okay, so now I'm going to deploy this and confirm that I do want to do that. And lastly, just to confirm that this all is working and I'm telling you the truth and I provided the right information to you, let's switch over to the command line here and let's do a kube control get pods where we should have a new Nginx container. And the one we want is the one that's has an age of 8 seconds because that tells us that's the new one. So we'll copy and paste the pod name, do a describe on it, and we'll scroll down to the bottom. And at the bottom, you will see that where it's pulling it from, which is GCR. So to summarize, in this video, we pushed the public Nginx container image to a repository in GCR. We updated our application YAML definitions to pull from GCR. And then we updated the application we had deployed. And we went to the command line and verified that, in fact, the pods were pulling the images from GCR. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us at info@replicated.com. Thank you.